I remember seeing the first trailer to Inside Out and thinking to myself, I've seen something very similar to this before. Hi there guys, thanks for coming to Cinema Bear. My name's Eric Ortiz, and in honor of the upcoming Inside Out 2, we're going to take a look at the original Inside Out. Oh, but before we get started, please do me a massive favor and hit that like and subscribe button. I'd super appreciate it. Thank you so very much. So in Inside Out, we find Amy, who's about 8-9 years old, and her family have moved to San Francisco. And the movie pretty much covers her journey in dealing with living in a new place, making friends, the drama at school of blending in. And as all this is happening, we get to see personifications of her emotions through this almost workstation in her head. In terms of directing, Pete Docter does this very clever thing of making sure that almost everything is through Amy's perspective. Even scenes that are, in the heads of other people and their emotions, you still get a sense that it's all about Amy and what she's going through. And in scenes that take place inside of Amy's head with her emotions, primarily Joy, voiced by Amy Poehler, it's almost as if Joy is like the happy version of Amy. And the parallels between the two of them is very relatable. It's almost like this is her ideal person is Joy, and all these other emotions are not necessarily in the way, but things that she has to just push through. And I think in terms of directing, it's very clear and very precise in terms of how it just lets us know all these things about her. And we get to see the character grow, which is, for a kid's movie, very clever to do. In terms of the script, one of the clever things this movie does is that the personalities in Amy's head are still her. They're different spectrums of her personality, obviously, but they never feel like they're just coming out of left field. Sadness feels like Amy when she's sad. Anger, voiced by Lewis Black hilariously, feels like Amy when she's angry. And Joy in particular, voiced by Amy Poehler, it's almost like Amy at her best and at her brightest. And even when we get to see the images of other people's inner emotions, it still feels like them. So we never get this disconnect of wondering, oh, why is this person acting like that in their head, and in the real world they're doing this. It's very, I think, true to character in terms of the people that will be in this movie. Ultimately, it makes every character interesting and unique and actually very enjoyable to watch. In terms of the voice performances, they're actually pretty fantastic. Amy Poehler is an absolute standout as Joy, Lewis Black as Anger, and Bill Hader is also incredibly funny. But Amy Poehler kind of had this way about performing that reminded me a lot of Dory, in the sense that while they're not necessarily the main character, they are the driving force. And in the movie, Amy is trying to push towards being happy. Joy is like pushing her to be happy. And through the voice acting, it doesn't feel like you're watching a cartoon sometimes. It almost feels like you're watching Amy Poehler on stage playing this like larger-than-life character. It's kind of surprising to see just how natural the performances were, even though it is a cartoon, that it didn't feel like they weren't real people. So yeah, overall, voice acting, fantastic. One of the things that makes this movie really stand out is how it tackles the idea that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to have moments in life that aren't perfect, but that you learn from. Even as us as adults, we're told that, hey, put on a happy face, or, chin up. But sometimes, even when you're at your lowest, you just need time to reflect and grow and go forward, be a better person for the next time. And this movie kind of gives us, all of us, not just kids, a glimpse that, hey, you know what? Sometimes bad things happen, whether it's through our own actions or some type of sabotage, and we just have to take that experience and become stronger, better, overall at the end of it. And this movie does that very nicely. Guys, ultimately, Inside Out is an absolutely excellent film. I was really surprised how much I enjoyed watching this movie in preparation for the next film. But the one thing that always kind of made me not be crazy about this movie is the fact that it is Herman's Head for kids. It's on YouTube right now. I'll put a link somewhere so you guys can catch an episode of it. But the layout of how the emotions talk to each other, how they argue, it's all Herman's Head. And while there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, maybe because I've seen all the episodes of Herman's Head on YouTube, it just kind of made this movie feel like second fiddle to that, even though this is a much better written film than any episode of Herman's Head. So that's my take on Inside Out. Great movie, catch it if you can. Thank you very much for watching Cinema Bear. My name is Eric Ortiz, and I'll see you for the next one. Take care.